Okay, I think we're good.
Okay.
All right. I'm joined today by Kylie Wall. Kylie has been on the program before. She's the Natrona County High School student that started a chapter of, it's not Turning Point USA, it's called what, Kylie?
Club America.
Club America, there you go. We interviewed her. I interviewed her quite a while ago when it was in the media that you got a little flack for putting up flyers in the school and starting the chapter. And so we talked for a little bit. Well, we're down in Cheyenne and she's here for a bill. And so I thought we may as well sit down and visit in person. So first, Kylie, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. It's very nice to be able to finally meet you in person. It's been a while, so why don't you tell my audience a little bit about yourself?
Awesome. Okay, so again, I am a senior at Natrona County High School in Casper, Wyoming. I am also a Club America president, which is affiliated with Turning Point USA. I'm also the vice president of a Students for Life chapter at Casper College, and I'm finishing out my associate's degree in political science. I have a heart and passion for public policy and for politics, and this is just my life, I
This
guess.
is your thing. This is what
my
you do.
thing, yeah.
All right. Well, you've got a bill that you've been advocating for that is making its way through the legislature. First, what is it? And second, just tell me what you've been doing down here to support it.
Okay, awesome. So it is House Bill 159. Now, House Bill 159 is about safeguarding students' rights, political, religious rights in K through 12 and K through 12 schools. So it would pretty much protect students from going through exactly what I went through,
Okay.
from facing the retaliation, the harassment, the threats, just for having my political beliefs. Me being told I couldn't start my chapter originally, or I mean, being very just not willing to really give into it, or not stopping harassment of my club and me and my club members because of our beliefs, because that's directly what happened. I had faculty ripping down my flyers. I watched it happen. I watched faculty do it, and when I brought it to admin's attention, absolutely nothing was done.
Of course
Nothing
not.
was said. And they refused to even tell me if they would talk to anyone or if they would look at security footage, nothing like that. So it was a mess. And I just wish that this bill would have been in place at that time, because it would have protected me from so much stress and so much.
So what does the bill actually do?
So the well, again, like it enforces that, it enforces my right essentially to be able to say what I want religiously and politically, and for me to be able to assemble in that way. So if for me to be able to have my club. So in education committee yesterday, they amended the bill and they took in something in the classroom out. So the bill is originally, it's supposed to be just in general, that in the school you are allowed to be religious, be political, and not face retaliation for it, and that's protected, and that if a school, goes against your religious or political viewpoints, that you can, get sued for that. They can face consequences. And there's a fine, all this stuff. Well, in education committee, they amended it so that they took classroom out because they didn't want it to be disruptive.
Okay.
So they have it so that before and after school, and then like during lunch, essentially. And I think that I just don't think that that's fair, because took U.S. history, and in U.S. history, our teacher would like to do debates, and during debates, we would argue things like abortion, big things like that, and I feel like that bill directly supports that. It makes it so that if I say something, even like if I say I think abortion is wrong, I think life begins at conception,
Right.
my teacher can't automatically shut me down for that or say that or I can't face punishment for that.
So let me ask you a question.
Okay.
I think that you and I could probably agree that there are some. We'll just use T-shirts for example. There are some T-shirts that probably are not appropriate for a school. I mean, profanity.
Yeah.
I think you would probably agree with me that probably shouldn't have swastikas being worn around.
Yeah.
So with your bill, where is the bright line that says this is, this is political belief or religious belief, and then what prevents everything else from entering the conversation? So if you can, in other words, if the bill allows you to practice your own beliefs, which you absolutely should,
Yeah.
what happens to other people who may say, hey, wearing the swastika is my belief?
Yeah.
What prevents that? Or should it be prevented?
And I do think that is the fine line, and I think people like to throw that in there a lot of times to try
Sure.
and be like to be able to try and say, "Hey, I can suppress you because of this." I think that there is a very big difference between me wearing a shirt that has the Republican Party elephant on it rather than a swastika because
Or pot leaf or whatever.
yeah, I understand history and I believe you also understand history, and we both know that symbols like the swastika have a lot of meaning behind them and are very hateful, and no one should promote groups like that, and that's very very different between a group of people that killed millions versus a group of people that just write bills and legislation.
Right.
So
I happen to agree with you
yeah,
on that one.
yeah.
All right. So where's the bill at?
So the bill just passed Education Committee
Okay. In the
yesterday
Senate
in
or
the
the House?
Senate. In the
Okay.
Senate, yep. And I don't know when it's supposed to be on next, but
Soon,
yeah,
hopefully.
soon, hopefully. I'm
Monday.
excited. Yeah, I'm excited. I think it's gonna go far. I was really surprised that they even passed it in Education Committee, but yeah.
Well, the Senate Education Committee it's interesting to me because sometimes they pass bills that, well, you would think, well, maybe they shouldn't even be dealing with this one. And
Yeah.
then other no-brainer bills, they seem to have, a problem. See, for me, it makes perfect sense that you ought to be able to express yourself in school. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Is schools should teach you how to think and not what to think. Now, is this your first time hanging around the Capitol?
No, this is not my first time. So my very first time ever seeing the Capitol building, I will always remember it. I believe it was June 19th, 2025. So
And
last
you
year.
remember the date?
I remember the date.
Okay.
I was here for Girls State. That was the first time I ever saw the Capitol building. And it was honestly magical. And I remember walking in there and, they taught us all about the history of it. And I fell in love with it. And then I came back. I was here about 2 or 3 weeks ago when they started the legislative session. Speaker of the House invited me down and honored me on the floor. So that was the last time I was here.
So what's your favorite part of the Capitol?
My favorite part of the Capitol are the Four Sisters.
It's pretty cool.
Yes.
My favorite statue is the one holding the snake.
Yeah,
That says
I
courage on
love
it.
that one. Yes. Yeah.
All right, so you are very much involved in politics in your high school, and I'm just going to take a wild stab in the dark here that you probably paid attention to what's been happening the last 3 weeks with this whole check thing.
Yes, sir.
Just tell me your impression of it. What do you think?
I think that it is very immature. I think it's also very ridiculous.
Remind you of high school?
It definitely reminds me of high school. It's very childish. So it's very mean girly, Yeah. So I think that narratives are very, very persuasive sometimes, and I think that media puts things in a certain light that makes it very difficult for some people to discern, because a lot of people don't have discernment on those things, and I think that the media doesn't help with that. So
Well, I would tend to agree with you, and I think a lot of this, the majority of it, was very much fanned
Yeah.
by the media.
Yeah.
I haven't counted how many stories were published about it, but it was a lot. I know the open range record. We tried to just report the facts and report the news on it.
Yeah.
Now, since the investigative committee, I'll be honest with you, we've been on a bit of a tear, but it's all factual, and it's a whole bunch of things that haven't been reported. All right, so let's get back to your chapter a little bit.
Okay.
So what's going on? You have other members of your Club America chapter down here, or
No, it's just me. Our club is doing great though. We're really learning a lot. We're getting pretty engaged. We're looking at some new things that we want to do sometime. Like I think we're gonna take a trip up to the Capitol here sometime soon. That's the goal.
cool?
I want all of them to see it. I want all of them to learn a little bit about it. We're also looking at taking a trip up to Yellowstone to volunteer.
Okay, cool.
That's something we really want to do. We're getting really good about our debate and civic discourse skills, and it's going good. I'm really enjoying it. We're running into a few things. Like me personally, I as the face of the club, essentially, I guess I'm the one who faces the most retaliation, I guess you could
So
say.
there's been more
And I
since
have, yeah,
since you started?
yeah, there are a few students who intentionally target me. I've had students try to fight me.
Really?
Yeah, I've had lots of students try to
Wow.
fight me. There's one that comes to mind quite a bit. It's a transgender student who is also over 18. I am still a minor. So my father has heavily considered pressing charges on that individual. And then I have I've had to switch out of classes because of students. I've had to drop classes because of teachers. Yeah, it's
But none of that has deterred you.
no, absolutely not.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about your next year. Well, actually, you know what? Let me back up on that. So, you've been down here for a few days? Have you testified on any bills?
Yes, I testified for two bills. I testified for House Bill 159, which is the safeguarding of
Right.
students' rights, and then on 126, which is the heartbeat bill.
Okay. Tell me about it. What was your take on it? I mean, I can already guess,
Yeah.
but
So my take on that bill, I wanted to do something a little out of the box just because every single person opposing that bill came in with a super emotional look at it. You know, well, what about the women? This isn't fair. People shouldn't have to bring children into the world when they're not ready. And
wow.
so I know. So I
Oh,
wanted to be more scientific about it. So I came in there and I was all like, I kind of, labeled a little bit about what life is, reacts to stimuli, maybe has a heartbeat, things like that. And I said, if we found something like that, that is almost the exact same thing of what
fits that definition.
exactly, the almost the exact same thing of what a fetus is on like Mars or on another planet, we would be in awe and we would say, oh my gosh, we found life. We found life on another planet. This is insane. And we would try to protect it. We would try to preserve it. We would learn all about it. But yet, that doesn't apply to a human baby inside the womb. How does that make any
It
sense?
doesn't. None of it.
Yeah.
One of my favorite episodes that I've done in the last 6 years, and just recently, the program surpassed 1,000 episodes. But one of my favorites was an early one, and I was talking with some students from Wyoming Catholic College. It was the Cowgirls for Life chapter, I think. And what we did is I gave them the big arguments that abortion activists always use, one of which you just mentioned, and then I just let them rebut it. And I think that this conversation around the lives of unborn children, the people that we don't include in this are folks like yourself. We very rarely say, "Hey, Kylie, what do you think about this?" Instead it always it ends up in that building over there, and we don't tend to get your opinion or your age group's opinion on a lot of things. And I often wonder, why that doesn't. Well, I think that doesn't make any sense because here in a few years, it's not going to be people my age running the place. It's going to be people your age, your group that's running it. And so, I think it's tremendously important that you get involved, and I really wish other people were. So, is there anything else you want to talk about before we head over to the GOP meeting, or I do anyway?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to visit with me. You're welcome on the show anytime you like, and good luck.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.